It seems very strange that the closer Brexit looms in our lives, the greater the distance Brexiteers seem to want to put between it and themselves. It's almost as though they've finally come to understand just what an horrific car crash this national act of self-harm is going to be, and they want somebody else to take the blame for it. I mean, 4 years ago, it was all hunky-dory. Remember this?
We want to come to a full and comprehensive deal with the European Union. Why? Because it's good for the people of Britain, and it's good for our economy, and it's good for the consumers, and it's good for the workers of Europe and their economy. If you think about it, the free trade agreement that we will have to come to with the European Union should be one of the easiest in human history.
That was back when Brexiteers were still calling our absolutely sincere warnings Project Fear.
The main point, I think, to say is don't believe Project Fear.
I think it's very good news that the Chancellor has come out and said some reassuring things to the markets, and it's clear now that Project Fear is over.
Despite knowing all about Dominic Cummings' dirty tricks and Boris's lies on the side of a bus.
If it hadn't been for 350 million and turning the campaign, giving people a chance to vote for the NHS as well as voting against the EU, without that, then the economic scares of the establishment would have been too powerful and we would have lost. That, what's one of the core problems of the Tory party brand going back decades? NHS, and people think, by the way, and I think most people are right, the Tory party is run by people who basically don't care about people like me, right? That's what most people in the country have thought about the Tory party for decades. I know a lot of Tory MPs, and I'm sad to say the public is basically correct. Tory MPs largely do not care about these poor people. They don't care about the NHS, and the public kind of has cottoned on to that.
Even last year, they still kept up the pretence.
Like you, I've looked carefully at no deal. I've assessed its consequences, both for our country and yours. And yes, of course, we could do it. The UK could certainly get through it. But be in no doubt, that outcome would be a failure of statecraft for which we would all be responsible. And so, for the sake of business, of farmers, and for millions of ordinary people who are now counting on us to use our imagination and creativity to get this done, I want you to know I would overwhelmingly prefer to find an agreement. We have a deal. It's a wonderful deal. We're coming out on January the 31st if we can get a working majority, and I'm afraid, listening to Mr Corbyn, it's absolutely clear that what would happen next year is there would be a period of negotiation about this mystery deal.
Remember how we held all the cards and the EU would fall over itself to give us a better deal than its own members are getting? And now they're even claiming that anyone who even suggests that someone talked about an oven-ready deal is either lying or stupid.
Called it oven ready. Remember Liam Fox calling it the easiest deal in history. Michael Gove said it was we hold
Dan,
all the cards. Why are you shaking your head?
I'm going to pull you up on that. That oven ready that the Prime Minister was referring to was the withdrawal agreement.
So what did Boris mean when he said this?
Protect, as I say, supply chain, we protect Nissan Motors, and we make sure that people continue to invest in our country, and they will. And what I think businesses large and small want to see is certainty about the arrangements we can do. The thing about the deal we've got ready to go is, as I say, that it does protect the supply chains, it keeps them intact, it makes sure that we have complete equivalence when it comes to our standards, our industrial requirements and all the rest of it. So as they come out, it's all protected from. We have a deal. It's a wonderful deal. We're coming out on January the 31st if we can get a working majority, and I'm afraid, listening to Mr Corbyn, it's absolutely clear that what would happen next year is there would be a period of negotiation about this mystery deal led by somebody in the Labour Party that we can't yet identify, since it.
It's fascinating how these giants of intellectualism, these Eton and Dulwich college educated men of the people, these wealthy gents with their even more wealthy backers who want nothing more than to help out the working man, have forgotten almost everything they once said about Canada deals, Norway deals, Sweden deals, even Australia deals. That last one is really just no deal, by the way. Even my own former UKIP candidate and now Tory MP Mark Jenkinson seems desperate to move away from his hardline no-deal past. Despite joining the ERG, the Tory backbench extreme Brexit pressure group, just 5 days after being elected, he now claims that he's never been a member. This tweet comes from the chairman of the ERG, Steve Baker, who actually lists Jenky in the role of new members in the press. Jenky's own Twitter feed had this little tweet, whilst a bigger picture appeared in the press shortly after. Well, seeing is believing, Jenky. So why are you trying to distance yourself from the hardline no-deal Brexit you once advocated so vociferously? Is it because you're finally beginning to understand the dire consequences that we Remainers have been warning about for so long? Is it because you finally recognise the damage you've done to our economy and to the electorate in one of the country's hardest hit areas by advocating for this awful nonsense?